Yeah. Yeah. These niggas talking about band for band, I'm trying to go key for key. Nigga be hating out on the net, but they can't with me. Yeah. Yeah, hold it 223. I got 220 on my dash and scat this now to B. Alright. Yo, what is good, y'all? Welcome back to another Tuesday Talks, man. As y'all can tell, I'm in the same outfit. And the reason why is because what we talked about, bro. What we talked about in the last Tuesday Talk. Y'all saw it last week. I'm still here recording. But anyways, point being is that, yeah, what we talked about what we talked about last week, man, motivation and discipline, okay?
Okay.
Now, part of me wanted to wait and record this video, but another strong part of me, hold on, the light, why the light, you know what, it's fine. Anyways, part of me wanted to wait and record this video, but another part of me was like, you know what? Go ahead and knock this video out now. Is there something on my face, bro? I like feel it on my face. Hey, pause. But anyways, something told me to just go ahead and knock this video out because why wait? You know, why wait on it? At the end of the day, like I said in the last video, if you did not watch the last video, make sure you go watch it, man. It's about motivation and discipline. The difference between the two, why it's important to rely on discipline and why it's important not to rely so heavily on motivation. But yeah, that was a pretty good video in my opinion. I think it came out relatively well. So yeah, make sure y'all go check that out. But anyways, in this one, we're going to be talking about communication and understanding. Why it's important to be able to communicate and why it's also important to understand and listen. You know, understanding kind of follows in the same category as listen. So, I mean, however you want to take it, you can take it, of course. We're gonna talk about communication first because I feel like that is something that a lot of people don't know how to do. And it's so many different topics and areas that I can really address in communication alone. Because even with myself, I won't say I struggle with it, but I have moments where I am insensitive or I have moments where I can be not so like friendly, you know? Not necessarily like a mean person, but it's like I don't intend to be mean, but because I am very direct and I am very open with my discussion, I don't mind saying what's on my mind, to say the least. I won't necessarily say it in a mean way all the time, but I won't say it in the nicest way either, you know? But I always mean well. That's my biggest thing, and that's something I've heard from my people, and that's something that I try to be mindful of now because, again, you want to understand, you know, and that goes into understanding. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But communication, let's talk about this. So communicating. What does it mean? Why is it important? Why should you do it? Well, first of all, communicating means being able to talk and express yourself and your feelings openly. Openly. Now, that doesn't mean tell everybody everything. I'm not saying that. No, you ain't got to do that. Okay? But being able to communicate, being able to properly communicate, man, it is very important because it will get you through doors and it'll get you through situations that it doesn't like if you didn't communicate in, it would prolong the situation, you know. It'll prolong it, it'll make it worse, it'll put you in a situation where you feel misunderstood or misheard, and then you're angry, yada yada yada, and more emotions just come out of the blue, and you're just like, you know, all this stuff happened because you didn't properly communicate. And I feel like this is something a lot of men lack this, I'm not gonna lie. And I say that somewhat sparingly, because I also understand that in this society, a lot of men are told not to express themselves. But it's also like a matter of understanding that as a man, if you don't communicate, if you don't let yourself be heard, you will find yourself in those positions where you are, you know, not where you want to be, or you are in a place where you don't feel happy, you know? So again, it goes back to the importance of communicating. As a man and really as anybody in general, you need to communicate. You need to be able to properly express yourself. Now, how do you properly express yourself? It looks different for everybody. I will say that because some people don't know how to really talk in words. So they show you through actions. And that's okay as well because there's different forms of communication. Obviously, we have sign language. If I knew sign language, I would do sign language right now, but I don't. We have, you know, different languages and yada, 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 and etc. And even with typing, like if you feel better writing things out, writing your emotions out, writing your feelings out, do that. Like with me, it's way easier to text someone how I feel sometimes than it is to send them a voice note or to get on the phone. And I'm not big on getting on the phone sometimes for that reason, but I'm also learning to adjust. And this falls under understanding. I'm also learning to adjust and adapt to expressing myself vocally, because that is, again, a very important part as a man to do. Like, you need to be able to express yourself vocally. But anyways, so again, what that looks like for different people. Again, writing, it could look like, you know, shit. What else? Let me think. Obviously, verbally, that's the main one that we use. Vocally expressing yourself. And also communicating in parts and pieces, because this is also something that I feel like is very important. A lot of people don't communicate patiently. They communicate out of emotion. They communicate out of stress, out of, you know, what, I guess technically that's an emotion, so that doesn't really count. But they communicate out of like pressure. You don't have to do that. Sometimes it's good to just take a step back and tell someone like, hey, we don't need to talk about this right now because I'm emotional. I'm feeling I'm emotional. I'm feeling some type of way. Let's go talk about it another time. And that's okay. I feel like that's okay, man, because at the end of the day, putting pressure on yourself unnecessarily is what's going to get you caught up in those situations where you say something that you didn't mean, or you say something that, like, you know, it was a thought at the time, but you know you didn't mean it just because of the simple fact that you were under a lot of stress, you were under a lot of pressure. That's not how you feel when you're calm. I say how you feel when you're calm is really, like, for the most part, that's the real you. But it kind of looks differently in different scenarios. So I guess I can't really say that, because how I feel when I'm calm is actually how I feel. Like, most of the times I'm expressing myself genuinely. Like, I'm always my genuine self. But when I'm anxious, I do like convince myself, and this goes back to my initial other video about anxiety. I convince myself that I'm not worthy of something, or I convince myself that I shouldn't have this, I shouldn't have that, or I shouldn't do this, or I should do that. And then I put myself in a place where I'm just like, that wasn't even really me talking. That was my anxiety talking, you know, like my anxiety thinking these crazy, spontaneous, sporadic thoughts, you know, these extemporaneous motions and movements. If y'all don't know what those words mean, look them up. But anyways, it would have you like doing things. It would have me doing things that I didn't really see myself doing, but because I was anxious and under a lot of pressure, I ended up doing those things. And so again, it goes back to taking a break, pausing, and remembering that you don't have to address something in the moment. Sometimes it's good to just take a step back between you and whoever, or like however many people. Take a step back, everybody calm down, everybody think about it, and then address the situation. That is also a good quality trait to have as a leader as well, because another thing about being a person that communicates is that it's important to know when it's time to communicate as well. Like, it is really, really important that you know when it's time to communicate. But another thing about communication, and I feel like this is something else that a lot of people don't understand as well. When you communicate, your words matter, okay? Your words matter. Even myself, sometimes I'll use words that don't necessarily strike people in the right ways, and it goes back to my insensitivity. Because I can be insensitive sometimes, I will use words that, for me, don't really have the same heavy effect as it does for someone else. When you have words, it's like the golden, or not golden saying, it's like the saying, it's not what you say, it's about how you say it. And so with that being said, watch what you say. You know, just watch how you say things and watch how you communicate them. And I feel like this is also why people prefer being on the phone, is because you can tell someone's demeanor. You can tell like the emotion behind it, you know, because when you're texting someone, and even though I prefer text, but it's also because I just know how to properly communicate well enough through text where it doesn't be perceived wrong. But it's one of those things where emotion does also matter. And that falls into like how you say things and what you say, you know. And I feel like really with that saying, it's really both of them. It's what you say and how you say it, not what it's not. It's it's not what you say and how you say it. It's both of them. It's both what you say and how you say it. That was kind of like really hard to put into words, but anyways, y'all get the point. Point being is that you need to watch for both of those things, because when you're communicating with people, they can interpret that wrong. They can interpret that in ways that you probably didn't mean, and that's where misunderstanding comes from. Speaking of understanding, that is our next topic. Understanding. When it comes to understanding, bro, it is about listening. Now, a lot of people don't do this, and I want to mention the 80-20 rule. When it comes to learning is, or not even learning, really networking in general. But learning, I use learning as an example because this is the best way I feel like there is to learn. Learning is 20% talking, 80% listening. 20% talking, 80% listening. And that goes into understanding. When you listen more than you talk, you start to understand things. Now, when it comes to understanding things, you want to take a step back and really analyze what someone is trying to convey to you. Because not all the time someone has malicious intent with what they're saying. Oftentimes we'll see things and hear things that someone has said and we'll take it wrong because it's a little offensive to us because we feel like we know ourselves, which isn't always true. Sometimes we don't really know ourselves as well as we think we do, for one. But two, we feel like we know ourselves well enough to know like, oh, that's not me. That's not who I am, yada, yada, yada. And I don't do this and I don't do that. First of all, you're a narcissist. Secondly, no, okay? They're telling you this for a reason. A lot of the times people don't realize that people tell you things for a reason, okay? When you make someone feel a certain type of way, it is because of how you communicate it to them. It is because of how your actions move. And even actions are a form of communication. That's something else I forgot to mention. Your actions and what you do is a form of communication. And so when you say things and you don't follow up with the actions behind them, that is what makes someone feel like you're not properly communicating, or like they're undervalued to you or anything like that, you know? So that's a big part of communication as well. But going back to understanding, when you are telling people things and your actions don't follow up and they feel like they need to tell you something, but when they tell you this thing and you don't want to listen, that is a huge understanding issue. You're not listening in the sense where you don't look at it from their perspective. And that's a big part of understanding. Looking at things from other people's perspectives and coming at it with an open mind. Having an open mind whenever you walk into any situation is what's going to get you through the next door. I guarantee that anytime. Guarantee that. Because the thing about it is you never really know too much. Sort of. Kind of. I will say that, kind of. Because there are things that we shouldn't know as humans. Like, some things that we just shouldn't know at all. I'm not going to even lie. But with that being said, when you walk into things with an open mind, and you say, hey, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to listen, it really changes how you understand things. Like, it really changes how you perceive things, how you take in information, how you release information. You know, being able to understand and be a better listener is going to make you a better communicator. Because once you understand really what it is that's going on, you find yourself in a place where you can properly communicate about it because you know how this person feels. You know the things that they're thinking, or I can say you know the things they're thinking, but you just understand better, okay? You understand better, so now you can communicate better. So really understanding is a little more important than communication, but communication is really essential as well because, again, you don't want to communicate the wrong way and send the wrong message, whether it's through actions, verbally, or even just, like I said, writing something down, which is like text. So I guess that still counts as verbally, but y'all get the point. Point being is that you don't want to be communicating the wrong way just because you misunderstood something. Another part of understanding is really just being patient, I feel like. Because that's another thing. We feel things out, and this goes back to anxiety. If you have not watched my video about anxiety, you need to go watch that video. When you don't understand things at the moment, don't feel like that's a sign that you are never meant to understand it. You know? And it's one of those things where it's like being patient, like how people say patience is a virtue. That's definitely true. That's wholeheartedly true. Being patient is so essential in the sense that when you are patient, more things are revealed to you with time. It's like I always say, the truth comes with time. And it's not even just the truth. It's really answers in general. Clarity comes with time. So let's say that instead of the truth. Clarity comes with time. When you are able to give things time to really feed into, what it's supposed to manifest into, like really manifest itself. Give things time to manifest itself. That's what I was trying to say. Give things time to manifest itself, and clarity will come to you. I promise you, every single time, because time reveals all. That is something that a lot of people don't realize. Time reveals all, especially when it comes to lying. When you are a liar, bro, and this goes to communication. When you are a liar, I promise you, you're not winning how you think you're winning. Like, you are losing by lying. I promise you, you are losing so much by, well, let me say this, because I feel like this generation normalizes lying. And really just about every generation before that. Lying is not a normal fucking thing, for one. But for two, when you lie to people, you put yourself in a space where you damage your name and you damage your reputation. If I find out that you're a liar from someone else, okay, I'm gonna be a little weary of you. But if you start lying to me, that's when I'm gonna be like, okay, I can't trust this motherfucker no more. And I probably don't even want to talk to you anymore. That's just how I am. That's how I've always been. And and I'm not gonna even sit here and throw everybody else under the bus like that, because I've been a liar myself as well. And I'm not sitting here saying that you can never tell a little white lie or anything like that. Nobody's perfect, first of all. We're not perfect. But, and this comes a part of my understanding. So, because I used to be very critical of liars just because I hated liars for like the longest time. But recently one of my friends, we talked, and like she made me realize lying is human, you know. It's not normal in my opinion, and it shouldn't be normalized, but it is a human thing to do. Sometimes we instinctively lie, not pathologically lie, but instinctively we just lie about some stuff because it's just like, you know, I don't want to talk about that, you know, or something like along those lines. And even throwing people off when you don't want to talk about things, I would prefer you just tell them, yeah, I don't want to talk about this, versus lying to them. But everybody has their little routes, everybody has their little whatever, you know, or their like preference, I guess. But going back to what I was saying, my mom. So this is like something my mom really put me on. I need some fucking Vaseline. I ain't got no Vaseline over here. Oh my goodness, let me lick my lips, bro. Anyways, so my mom, I used to be a liar as a kid. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I used to be lying and stuff, bro. But I realized quickly, my mom knows everything. She gonna find out everything. There ain't nothing you can hide from her, bro. I ain't gonna even care. I feel like moms really do got that mother's intuition, because just as I would lie to her about stuff, not even like a few hours later, she would find out that I was lying. Maybe not even a few hours. Sometimes it was like the next minute, or sometimes she already knew. And that's another thing, bro. Moms will test you. They will literally sit there and test you. They know some information already. They just want to see if you're gonna lie about it. My mom did that to me a lot. And that's exactly where I learned, like, yeah, lying is just not it, bro. She gonna find out regardless. There ain't nothing I can hide from this woman. So, and it ain't not only that, but I was never really a good liar anyways. Like, I would lie about stuff that, it's like, why am I even lying about this, you know? And that kind of goes back to like why I was like, yeah, I don't like liars, because even then, like, I think about it now and I'm just like, why are you lying about this, you know? Like, what am I going to do about it? You don't have to lie to me about certain things. Like, it's just like, or it really anything at all. I'm someone where you don't have to really lie to them about, because or lie to them about things, because it's like, okay, you know, like, I can't do nothing about it. It already happened. Past is the past. You know, we just got to move forward and see how we can do better in the future. That's really how I am as a person. But anyways, so it goes back to what I said, man. Lying damages your reputation as a person. Lying is going to make you distrustworthy. It is going to put you in a place where you don't want to be, because then when you do try to communicate, and then when you do try to tell people things, it's going to be hard for them to believe you. It's like the boy who cried wolf. You know, the boy cried wolf so many dang times that nobody believed him when there was an actual wolf in the you know, messing up the sheep and shit. You know, so yeah, that's just one of those things where you got to really be wary of that, man. But for the most part, I think I touched up on everything, man. Make sure y'all do better about communication. Make sure y'all do better about understanding, because it is all very, very essential. Being a better communicator will make you a better understander. Being a better understander will make you a better communicator. And that's really how that is, for real. Yeah, make sure y'all take heed to that shit. Try to keep them in mind. Try to understand. You know, come to things with an open mind. I'll say that. Come to things with an open mind. And yeah, that's basically the message for this video, man. I think this Tuesday talk is gonna be relatively shorter. Hopefully, I think maybe not. I don't know. I can't really tell. Yeah, so I hope y'all appreciated this video. I'm trying to keep these Tuesday talks going, sharing my message. Eventually, what I want to start doing is bringing more people onto my Tuesday talks and sharing ideas with them in the midst of it. Because again, it goes back to what I was saying about communication. You know, I might perceive something one way, or not really communication, really understanding. I might understand something one way, but the person I'm talking to might understand it differently. So that is something that I want to work on. That is something I'm going to get into place. Start having different people on my Tuesday talks and really just, you know, turn it up, man. Turn it into something that can be amazing for real, for real. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, if y'all enjoyed this video, man, make sure y'all leave a like, comment, share, subscribe for your boy. We are on the way up. That know what it is, man. Yeah, we trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. So make sure y'all peep game, bro. Peep game, man. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers, get to that next level. Yeah. Also, I do want to also mention we got clothing brand coming on the way. You know, it ain't even just a clothing brand. Really, it's much more than a clothing brand, bro. Preside, that's my brand. If y'all don't know, Preside is going to be clothing brand, but I'm also do decor. I'm also do art, just anything y'all can think of, because I feel like, and this is my understanding of it, of how a lot of people come at things. A lot of people stop at just one spot instead of thinking about the 5 other spots that they could be taking over as well with just that one brand, you know? And so for me, I don't want to stop at just one spot. I want to be like, you know, I got this one thing going. Okay, that's consistent. That's good now. 2 things going. Okay. And it's all under the same branch. So think of my hand as the branch. 2 things going under the same brand. 3 things, 4 things, 5 things. You know, so it's just like, that's how I'm looking at it, man. That's how I want to take over the game with it. So I feel like, yeah, that's what Preside is on, bro. Preside is going to be much more than just a clothing brand. It's much more than just a decor brand. It's much more than just, you know, paintings and all that other stuff. Like, it's much bigger than that. Preside is a movement. Preside is the brand, you know, the brand that's going to take over, man. And speaking of taking over, that's going to be something that y'all want to stay on the lookout for. I ain't going to speak too much, but your boy got a design coming, get a design dropping, you know, speaking on the takeover. So, yeah, man, y'all stay tuned, stay tapped in. We're going to get that on the way. And like I said, I appreciate y'all for watching. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
We up now.
Yeah, we bout to be slipping and sliding, fighting with Cupid. No, it can get violent, so I up the Nino when I see you driving. Shawty start wildin'. I tell her shh, be quiet. Yeah, I tell her shh, be quiet.